It's February and I love pink and red desserts, so I am working with the Valrhona Raspberry Inspiration to make a caramelized chocolate ganache. And I made 4 test batches. One was the control, it's the one I've always made. The others are a combination of the raspberry with either milk or dark chocolate, and then finally the raspberry on its own. What I wanted was a truffle center that was firm enough to handle and coat, soft enough to melt in the mouth, had a rich, deep flavor, and was creamy and velvety smooth on the finish. A ganache is a fat in water emulsion, and it's very versatile. You can finish them any way you want. Possibilities are endless, but it is a confection that has the highest moisture content and water activity level of all confectionery centers. That basically means that any one of your ingredients can cause a lot of trouble. Sucrose goes in the pan, and once it's caramelized, it adds a really nice bitterness and reduces the sweetness in my truffle. The sugar contributes body, flavor, and balance. Glucose has an acid in it, so it prevents crystallization of the sugars while in the pan. It also bonds with water, so it helps later with shelf stability and moisture migration. I've tempered the cream and the butter in the microwave so that there's not a lot of shock in temperatures, and that way the proteins can get toasted, and that extra layer of flavor is really what I'm looking for. The cream is a liquefier. It's a fat in water emulsion, and it contributes lots of water, and the ganache needs the water to distribute evenly and to hold on to a great amount of fat molecules. Butter is a water in fat emulsion. It has lecithin, which is an emulsifier, and fat, and water. It adds flavor and body. The other important fat is the cocoa butter. If you control cocoa butter, you control the chocolate. The raspberry is really the outlier because they added extra fat and the freeze-dried powdered raspberry for flavor, and this is going to change how it performs. Interestingly, when you add butter fat to cocoa butter fat, you get a softer fat that melts at an even lower temp, so you get a really great mouthfeel. All 4 ganache were made exactly the same, and 3 of them felt and performed normally. 1 of them did not. I covered each to touch, rested for 24 hours, scooped, did not cover, and then rested for another 24 hours, the ganache centers. The first rest was to allow the cocoa butter crystals and all of the ingredients to settle and firm. The open air second rest was to allow them to firm up and dry out so I could handle them enough to round them out and then coat twice with thin hand dip layers of couverture. You never want to store your ganaches at any stage in the refrigerator. They expand and contract too much, creating holes where moisture can get in, and then degradation occurs. Stored at or below 68 degrees Fahrenheit, your ganache centers will last up to 3 weeks. Can you predict which version may separate, had too much fat, or remain too soft to work with? Consider every ingredient. One ingredient might contain 4 or 5 other ingredients, and they don't exist just on their own. They interact with one another, and they interact with you. Follow up and I'll let you know about the taste, texture, and appearance.